So I started making a Roman Gladius. Now I didn't get the actual shaping or me forging the rough shape of the blade out on an anvil, but here are some photos of that process as I progress through the different stages.
Hey there! So right now I'm just about to do a bunch of grinding on this Roman Gladius that I'm working on. So far it's been pretty good. I'm just working out on the bevels on the edge. Yeah, just continuing to do the heating. I gotta heat the handle so that I can bend the handle back. It's a little crooked how it was cut. And then I gotta temper it. Sorry, not temper it, normalize it. So I heat it 3 times, glowing red, let it cool down naturally just in the air, and then I get ready to quench. So yeah, just heating it now.
Okay, so after finishing up the finishing touches to the blade, now I'm on to the last minute straightening before the heat treatment. So like I was saying before, I heat it up 3 times to critical temperature and let it air cool. Then I heat it up one more time, make sure until critical temperature where it's glowing red and it loses its magnetism. And once that happens, then I quench it. Once I quench it, then I stick it in the oven to temper it, usually around 2 hours at around 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And then yeah, once that's tempered, then it's ready to start working on the handle and finishing the final grinding touches, sharpening it, and yeah.
All right, back to working on the Roman Gladius. Yeah, so I'm just in the middle of making the handle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to carve out the inside to lay the handle down like this. And then at the end, I'm gonna carve it out larger so that I can put a nut and a bolt in, sorry, a nut and a washer, so that it'll hold the handle all on. So I'm carving out the middle of the handle. Then I'm going to glue it together, let it dry overnight, and then I'm gonna stick it in the lathe and kind of spin it to what I need it to get. Because the one thing I noticed about these Roman handles is they're very, very round. Like even the pommel, the guard, and the handle. So I'll do what I can on the lathe, then I'll move on to it. Attach my handle to my sword that I'm finishing. So anyways, I welded a cut-off bolt to the end of the handle, and then I'm just gonna stick a nut and bolt in the end here, and then I'm going to cover it up with a piece of wood. Bob's my uncle. Now, the sheath, what I'm planning on doing is I'm kind of doing the same thing, where I'm gonna see if I can cut this in half. And if I can't, then I'll buy 2 separate pieces. And I'm going to carve out the inside to make it for the sheath for the Gladius. Now, the hard thing with the Gladius was it was really had a slight warp in it from the heat treatment, and I could not get rid of it. So I tried hitting it with the acetylene torch, but that didn't work. So I stuck it back in the forge, got a little dull red, and then clamped it down to the table flat till it cooled down with some U-clamps and stuff. I'm just hoping that by heating it again, that it doesn't that I didn't sacrifice the hardness of it holding an edge. But yeah, I Got to do what you got to do, right? So yeah, just continuing to work on it today. So I will come back later.
Doing some last minute sanding on the blade to help get the bevels just perfectly after I took a grinder and the belt sander to them. And then once that was done, yeah, I finished the blade, sharpened it. Here's the finished product. There's before I put the leather wrap on it. Ended up part of the sheath. And yeah, just a finished product. And then I ended up testing it out on a log. And this is the aftermath of said test.